Welcome back to Ferris Farming Organic. Today we have another episode in the shop and we are putting together some tine weeders. So starting off from this side, it's not going to really be in order by any means. I'm just going to kind of run through what we have done so far and what we have left to do. So when we moved this beam in here, this whole beam, this is a 60-foot tine weeder. First thing we did was start putting these hydraulic cylinders all hooked up and stuff. So this beam right here is lined up. When he comes in, this is like folded against this beam. None of those pins, I can even show you guys. None of these pins right here are hooked up correctly. So we have to take all those out, put them in right, make everything nice and straight. Usually use a string line for that. And then we'll start putting on these beds. And these are the red things right here. You just put them on these little metal cylinders here. There's 12 of them, so there's 12 beds. You put that on, you put a washer, and you put a circle pin on. And then after we have all those on, which we do, we started to put on these wheels, but everyone else went to lunch. So there'll be one right there, the smaller wheels, and then there's, I believe, 4 in the inside here. These are a little bit beefier, a little more tread on them. And then you have the stands we also put on. There's 2, then one over there, and then there's these ones up here. Right there, there's 2 behind it. I think in the last video you guys saw one folded up, and I said we'd probably start putting them together sometime this week. It's actually Monday, first day, started putting them together, but that's kind of how far we got. So when they all get back from lunch, we'll start putting these bed of tines on, and we'll have to tip the whole unit back, because you can see on this front here, as I walk toward it, it's a 3-point mounted piece of equipment. These are 60 foot, like I said. The 40 footers are also 3-point mount, and then they also make 80 foot tine weeders, which are pole type. But these, see, we'll use the forklift or something to tip it up right, then we'll hook it on that 62 John Deere tractor right over there. We'll hook it on there. Then we'll put those blue beds on, and there's these chains right here. They'll put the chains on. They're all like 4 links, I believe, as the depth that they're on. So then all the beds will be even when you're in the field. And these have the hydraulic change the tilt or down pressure also. So you can see on here, it has this right here. So that controls, I guess, the tines being aggressive or not so aggressive. So right now they're completely flat, and when you hook them up, there's these 2 things right here that hook on. Oh man, it's gonna be really hard to show you guys without doing it. But once you hook these beds on, those red things, you put bolts and stuff through there. You hook up the hydraulics, and I think they are actually on here already. Yep. So they're in this package right here. These go on the back. You know what? I'll take one of these off. Be right back. Okay, I'm gonna try to show you guys this. So all the icy stuff, you can somewhat see it, but these bolts right here will hook on that blue thing there, and that'll be able to move it kind of more aggressive and less aggressive, like flat. So right now they're flat, And this, you can use a tractor, in the tractor, the hydraulic, they're all connected. It'll make the tines more aggressive to be kind of more up and down instead of laying flat. So that's a little bit on kind of how we get those things all set up. And the down pressure, so it keeps it down, it doesn't, you know, bounce around as much, obviously, is nice. You have a little bit more control of where it's going. But when you're blind tine weeding, you kind of want that so it doesn't bounce around, because usually we plant corn, you know, however many inches deep, and you don't want it. Usually we have these going about 2 inches deep in the soil, so it doesn't move that corn or soybean around when it's in the trench. You don't want it to get down in there. You don't want it too aggressive, because then it moves that corn and bean around, either so it's less shallow, or it moves it to the middle of the row, which you want it to be in those nice uniform rows. And if you have your tine set too aggressive, it can pluck them out, either move them on top of the soil even, or just kind of mess around with the seed bed. So that's one thing about the tine weeders we have to watch for when we're doing the blind tine weeding, and that's usually done end of May, beginning of June. We'll run blind tine weeding, depends on when we get all the corn in the ground and obviously the soybeans. Usually the corn is about 2 weeks ahead of the beans planting wise, or was last year I believe. So usually we'll hit these a day or two after the corn is put in the ground, depending on the weather obviously. But yeah, it's nice to run these right after you plant, just because it knocks out all those little white roots before they can become the weeds. Obviously you don't want the weed pressure right away. As organic guys, we can't just follow it up with a, you know, sprayer or whatever. You can't prep the ground, you can't kill all the weeds off beforehand. All has to be done mechanical. So that's why we use these, is to get that first pass going over the corn and beans. So another time during the season that we use these tine weeders is middle of June, depending on the weather. Obviously everything always depends on the weather as a farmer, but we run these even when the corn's in like the V4, V3 stage, so it's just, you know, becoming 6 inches tall or whatever, 8 inches, 10 inches. Obviously depends on the variety, but we will also run these that time, and we can sometimes get away with leaving all the tines in, so it just kind of goes right next to the row or right over the row. But we also can take a row of these out, so you can see that there's these bolts that hold these tines in, so we can just take these out, this whole row right here, and that'll go through the corn row, or excuse me, around the corn row. How's it going, Ben?
Good.
Say hi to YouTube.
Hi.
Talking about tine weeders. It's really exciting stuff. That wagon wheel.
Oh.
Yeah, the sacrifices you have to make. What are you looking for?
I'll call him.
All right.
Just figuring out a couple things on that door.
Sounds good. That was an unexpected visitor, but Ben, if you're watching this, nice to see you. Anyway, back to what I was saying. We can take those rows of tines out so we can run it when the corn is even taller yet. And it won't damage the corn, but it can get right next to a row, I would say an inch or less. So all the weeds that the cultivators can't get, even those smaller 6-7 shank Hatzenbichler cultivators still can't get right next to that row. And it's obviously you can use a single sweep with sugar beet shields or without the shields, and throw that dirt in the middle of the row, and that'll cover them up. But these will loosen it all up and actually rip them out instead of just covering them up and setting them back for a couple weeks. These kind of stir everything around, and I think last year we really noticed that they worked really well even later in the summer season, the row crop cultivating season, all that stuff. We kind of utilize these a little bit more on the looser soil because it could stir it up a lot better, and you could get a lot closer to the weed. Obviously when you use these, you don't have the mounding effect or are able to throw as much dirt into the row to cover weeds, but you still get that kill rate of in the weed and obviously in the middle. I think last year we tried to run this behind like a single sweep or a 3-sweep cultivator, because those 3 sweeps still throw dirt and it stirs up that entire middle. You have those 2 front sweeps that are a little bit smaller, then you have that great 10-inch or 12-inch sweep in the back that, you know, throws that dirt. So it kind of is a combo. If you do that and you do this, you kill the weeds in the middle of the row, and you also kill the weeds, most of the weeds in the row. Obviously, mechanical weeding, you never get 100% kill rate, and that's why we have weeders like walkers, hand pick weeding, hand weeding, whatever you want to call it. We bring up a big group of guys from Guatemala on H-2A visas, work visas, and they walk our fields during the summer, and they are pretty much 100% kill rate. Sometimes they don't do the grass because that's just a big pain to do by hand, even with a hoe, machete, whatever you want to use. But these kind of help those guys not have to do it as often. Obviously, they still have to go through almost every field. It is really hard to stay above or stay ahead of every single weed, because obviously you don't want to work it too much if you don't have rain, then you dry your soil out, and you don't want to do it too little, because then you get behind on everything and the weeds start going above the corn, and then you have to use a flamer. Like I talked about in a couple videos back, that's kind of the last resort, and this is one of the first things we do, or we've started doing for our crops. So obviously that was a lot of talking, but I feel like no one has ever really, on our channel at least, explained why we use tine weeders, how we use them, why we use them, the benefits. And that's a couple of the things that I obviously missed some stuff. I'm not the expert on these by any means. My brother Jack actually deals Hatzenbichler equipment, so if you are looking for a tine weeder or a cultivator or whatever, and you want a Hatzenbichler, I'll leave his email in the description. So if you were interested in that equipment, just shoot him an email, give him a call, and I'll take a 10% commission or something off of it. But yeah, that's a little bit about it. I'm probably gonna go eat lunch also, and we'll be back when everyone else is in here, and we will start putting the beds on, finish the tires and stuff. But we'll see you guys in a bit.
You got an audio scrub for that? It's a lot nicer.
Well, we got this one done and moved out. I was actually grilling lunch when they were finishing it up, so I didn't get to take any videos of them finishing it up. But I know those couple videos there, they're like 2 minutes. I didn't have any talking in. We were just assembling it. So I figured I'd come back here and show you guys how it looks like when it's done. So these are 7mm tines. They also have 6mm. I believe they have bigger ones also. And that's just the length, I believe, not the actual tine part that goes down. I think it's just this length, not that length. But anyway, this one's done. You guys saw us put the baskets on. There's a couple other little things I wanted to show you guys what we had to do. We obviously had to put the wheels, all the stands on it. I covered that yesterday. And then there's these hydraulic cylinders right here. We had to hook all these up, that up. You have to hook up a couple things kind of back here on the main part in the middle. But otherwise, in the videos where I didn't talk a whole lot, that's kind of what we did. And then on the outside 2 beds of tines, we have to put extensions on the outside. I think I have a video of me doing that, but what we did, you have to take the bolts out. You know what, I think it's in these bottom ones right here. Perfect. Okay, so we'll go down here. You can see, oh boy, so right here, this one is just like, I don't know, what is that, like 3 inches, 2 inches? And then come down here, it doesn't have that little piece on the end. It has this full 8 inches, 10 inches, whatever it is. So we had to replace, we had to take this tine off right here, slide this blue piece under the bottom of that, and then put that tine back through, and then put an extra tine on the end of it. So then we have more coverage. You don't miss that like 6 inches between the passes, if that makes sense. You might have like a couple inches of overlap, but having a little bit of overlap is obviously better than not having, you know, a little strip not tilled. So that is another little thing we did on this one. We did it on all of them, obviously. And then these black little hydraulic things, these run the tilt of the tines, if that makes sense. So right now they're kind of laying flat like that, and you can put them all the way back so they're all the way aggressive, kind of running straight up and down. And in my experience of running these tine weeders, I usually, obviously blind tine weeding, you don't want to be as aggressive, so they're more laying flat. And once you kind of take once the corn reaches that, you know, like I said before, the V4 stage or whatever, kind of getting a little bit taller, the weeds are still knocked back, you put them a little bit more aggressive, and you take out those tines over the rows, so you obviously don't damage any corn. And then you can go really aggressive and dig down deeper, move more dirt, throw more dirt, all that stuff. So that's a little bit on the tine weeder, actually quite a bit. We did a lot of talking in this video, but I figured this would be a pretty good educational video we could do. And since they were in the shop and being put together, I figured why not. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. It's probably going to be the end of it. If you did like the video, make sure to leave a like, comment if you did enjoy it, what you liked most about it. If you want to learn about other pieces of equipment that we use on our organic farm, kind of made for our type of organic farm, whatever, just the stuff we use, the brands, all that stuff, the stuff that we make ourselves, comment what you guys want to see. Obviously I'm planning on doing those couple cultivator videos that we'll be taking apart and then reassembling for 24 row row crop cultivators. So that'll be coming up. I think yeah, whatever you guys want to see, we'll do. But make sure you follow the Instagram. It'll be in the description below. If you are looking for Hatzenbichler equipment, my brother Jack deals Hatzenbichler equipment. I believe his email will be in the description also. So shoot him an email if you're interested. And once again, thank you guys for watching today's video. I'm excited to keep making videos for you guys, and until then, we'll catch you in the next one.